They picked someone else, not you. They didn't fight for you, didn't argue for you, didn't protect your name in the room, didn't hesitate when it was time to replace you. And that sting in your chest, it wasn't heartbreak. That was your ego collapse. But because the version of you that needed to be chosen was never powerful. It was negotiable. He adjusted himself to stay liked, watered down his opinions to avoid friction, overextended, overexplained, overgave, still got overlooked. It wasn't bad luck. That was positioning. You positioned yourself as optional. You kept answering instantly, kept showing up early, kept proving your value, kept tolerating small disrespect. You trained them to see you as accessible. Accessible men are rarely respected. You thought loyalty would secure your spot. It didn't. You thought effort would make you irreplaceable. It didn't. You thought patience would earn recognition. It didn't. Because value isn't proven by effort. It's proven by absence. And you were always available. Watch closely. The moment they stopped choosing you was the moment leverage shifted. You felt abandoned. They felt empowered. Why? Because whoever can walk away controls the frame. You weren't willing to walk. You were trying to win approval. People who were already comfortable losing you. It's not love. That's imbalance. You don't need revenge. You need recalibration. Stop asking why they didn't choose you. Start asking why you needed them to. And dependency is the weakness. You were chasing validation disguised as connection. You wanted to be selected because selection felt like proof. Proof you matter. Proof you're enough. Proof you're ahead. But when your worth depends on a vote, you'll always feel unstable. Power doesn't wait to be chosen. Power chooses itself. You don't become untouchable by becoming louder. You become untouchable by becoming unavailable. Emotionally, mentally, strategically, stop narrating your growth. Move in silence. Every time you announced your comeback, sadly, you diluted it. Every time you hinted at your plans, you made it negotiable. Quiet men are dangerous because nobody sees the shift until it's done. They stop choosing you. Good. That removes distraction. It removes emotional noise. It removes the illusion that external approval equals progress. Now the spotlight is gone. Now the expectations are gone. Now the safety net is gone. That's where real construction starts. The gym feels different when you're not boasting about it. Work feels different when you're not bragging about it. Money feels different when nobody knows you're stacking it. Silence builds gravity. Oversharing builds fragility. You were fragile. Not physically, psychologically. You wanted to be seen improving. Untouchable men don't seek witnesses. They seek dominance. Understand this clearly. Being chosen is tough. Being feared is control. Being respected is earned distance. And distance is built with restraint. You don't argue for your position anymore. You improve beyond the conversation. You don't explain your absence. You let curiosity replace access. You don't chase closure. You replace the entire chapter. Untouchable is narrative. Untouchable is self-contained. No emotional leaks. No desperate explanations. Reactive decision. You don't respond instantly. You don't double text. You don't beg for meetings. You don't seek reassurance. Because reassurance is for the unsure. You are building certainty. Here's the brutal shift. The version of you that needed to be chosen was insecure. He outsourced confidence. He borrowed identity. He adjusted to survive. That version must fade. Dramatically, but emotionally, strategically. You stop feeding him attention. You stop replaying old conversations. You stop imagining how they perceive you. You stop designing your life to trigger their regret. That's still attachment. Untouchable means indifferent. Not loud,
not bitter, indifferent. When indifference replaces insecurity, power stabilizes. You no longer react, you observe. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer negotiate your standards, you enforce them silently. You stop choosing them. Good. Because now you get to choose discipline. You get to choose solitude. You get to choose skill. You get to choose leverage. Leverage doesn't ask to be picked. It forces reconsideration. This isn't about becoming colder to punish others. This is about becoming structured enough that nobody can destabilize you again. No random rejection shakes your identity. No ignored message ruins your day. No overlooked promotion questions your worth. You upgrade so far beyond the room that the room becomes irrelevant. That's untouchable. And the shift starts here. Delete the emotional dependence. Delete the need for validation. Delete the desire to be understood. You don't need understanding. You need momentum. Today forward, train harder than you talk. You earn more than you show. You build more than you announce. You move more than you explain. You stop choosing. Good. Now you build a version that doesn't wait to be selected. You felt that shift. The day your name stopped carrying weight. The day your presence felt optional. You tried to ignore it. Tried to act unaffected. Tried to convince yourself it didn't matter. But it did. Because attention is addictive. And you were hooked. Not to a person. Not to a group. To relevance. Relevance feels like oxygen. When it drops, panic rises. That panic is what makes men text twice. Explain too much. Overcompensate. Post for validation. Prove themselves louder. That panic is weakness. And weakness leaks. Untouchable men do something different. They withdraw without announcement, not emotionally collapsing, strategically reducing access. Access is power. If everyone can reach you, nobody values you. If everyone understands you, nobody studies you. Mystery increases gravity. Overexposure kills it. You are easy to read. Predictable responses. Predictable availability. Predictable reactions. Predictable men are controllable men. The moment someone knows exactly how you'll respond, they own leverage. You want to become untouchable. Break predictability. Respond slower. Speak less. Share selectively. React minimally. Silence unsettles people because silence removes feedback, and humans crave feedback. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You are trying to stay liked. Liking is cheap. Respect is expensive. Respect requires distance. Distance requires discipline. You cannot be emotionally reactive and respected at the same time. You cannot overshare and be mysterious. You cannot chase and appear powerful. Power moves from calm, not chaos. When they stopped choosing you, you lost external validation. That created emptiness. Good. Because emptiness forces internal construction. Now you either A, fill it with distractions, or B, fill it with development. Most men pick distraction. New conversations, new entertainment, new noise. Untouchable men pick isolation, temporary, intentional, focused. Isolation is uncomfortable because it exposes your lack of self-approval. Without outside voices, you hear your own doubts clearly. That's where growth begins. Detach from outcome. Detach from response. Detach from applause. Operate regardless. If they notice, fine. If they don't, irrelevant. Your work continues. That's control. Imagine this shift. You walk into a room. You don't scan for approval. You don't adjust tone to impress. You don't perform for validation. You observe. You speak when necessary. You leave without explanation. Energy contained. That presence changes the dynamics. Because confidence without performance feels dangerous. Untouchable isn't loud. It's
grounded. Your emotions stop dictating decisions. Your loneliness stops driving behavior. Your ego stops chasing correction. You stop needing them to regret losing you. That's the trap most men fall into. They improve just to prove something. Still dependent. Still reacting. Still attached. Real detachment is improving without caring who notices. You don't need revenge bodies. You need revenge discipline. You don't need status posts. You need silent upgrades. Money, strength, skill, composure. Stack quietly. Let your results shock later.
Another hard truth. You gave people too much access to your struggles. Oversharing pain feels bonding. It's not. It lowers perceived strength. Strength isn't pretending you don't struggle. Strength is controlling who sees it. Vulnerability without boundaries becomes weakness. Untouchable men process internally. They vent selectively. They don't broadcast emotional storms because storms are temporary. Mutation is permanent. Control your reactions. That's step one. When ignored, stay composed. When underestimated, stay composed. When disrespected, respond once, firmly, then detach. No emotional spirals. No long explanations. No dramatic exits. Controlled exits build reputation. Emotional exits damage it. Your power multiplies when people can't reach you. Not because you're manipulative, because you're stable. Stability is rare. Most men are triggered easily. Triggerable men are steerable men. Untouchable men are hard to move, hard to provoke, hard to destabilize. That creates authority. You thought being accessible made you valuable, made you replaceable. Scarcity creates demand. Overavailability kills it. Your time is limited. Your attention is expensive. Your energy is reserved. Adopt that mentality. Even if you're still building, even if you're still unknown, operate like your presence is limited. Because it is. Detach from needing closure. Closure is a luxury. Growth is mandatory. Not every chapter ends clean. Some end abruptly. Use it. The abrupt ending becomes fuel. But controlled fuel. Not emotional rage. Focused momentum. Here's your recalibration protocol. Reduce unnecessary communication. Increase physical training intensity. Increase skill acquisition hours. Decrease social validation consumption. Increase solitude tolerance. Track progress privately. No announcements. No countdowns. No dramatic monologues. Just results. The shift is subtle at first. People sense something changed. You're quieter, less reactive, more centered, harder to access. That discomfort they feel, that's a loss of control. You no longer operate based on their reactions. You operate based on your standards. Standards replace emotions. They stop choosing you, and you survive. That means your dependency was illusion. Now imagine thriving without them. That's untouchable. You're not disappearing to punish them. You're disappearing to rebuild frame. Frame is everything. Whoever controls frame controls perception. You used to operate inside their frame. Now you build your own. And they either adjust to it or fade. This is not about becoming cold-hearted. It's about becoming self-contained. Contained men are dangerous. They don't leak insecurity. They don't leak neediness. They don't leak fear. They operate consistently, relentlessly, quietly. From this point forward, no emotional chasing, no reactive posting, no seeking reassurance, no explaining your worth. Work, train, build. Disappear from noise. Return with leverage. Watch closely. Become untouchable. Rejection exposed you. Detachment stabilized you. Now comes construction, motivation, structure. Untouchable isn't a mood, it's a system. And systems remove emotion from progress. You don't wake up inspired, you wake up disciplined. You don't rely on hype. You rely on routine. You don't chase intensity. You build consistency. Because consistency compounds power. First pillar, physical authority. Your body communicates before your mouth does. If you look uncertain, you'll be treated uncertain. Train like your identity depends on it. Heavy lifts, controlled reps, no phone scrolling between sets. Build shoulders that hold presence. Build posture that signals certainty. Build endurance that sharpens mental edge. When your body strengthens, your tolerance for discomfort expands, and discomfort tolerance is dominance. Weak men avoid pain. Untouchable men schedule it. Second pillar, skill leverage. Emotions don't create leverage. Competence does. Pick one domain. Money, business, high income skill, creative mastery, combat sport, leadership, and disappear inside it. Obsess quietly while others debate online. You're improving offline while others chase trends. You're stacking assets. The market respects output, not effort. Build something measurable. Income, network, reputation, results. Leverage makes you untouchable, not attitude. Third pillar, emotional containment. You don't eliminate the emotion. You regulate it. No impulsive decisions. No public breakdowns. No drunk confessions. No late night weakness messages. Process internally. Journal. Train. Reflect. Pray if you must. But don't leak instability. Stability builds trust. Trust builds authority. Authority builds influence. Influence makes you hard to replace. Fourth pillar, scarcity. You are no longer constantly reachable. Not to be dramatic, to be deliberate. Limited availability increases perceived value. You don't reply instantly. You don't attend everything. You don't agree automatically. You filter. You decide. You choose. And when you choose, it carries weight because you don't choose often. Now understand this clearly. Untouchable doesn't mean isolated forever. It means independent. First, you reconnect from strength, not from need. You date from abundance, not loneliness. You collaborate from leverage, not desperation. You speak from certainty, not validation seeking. That shift changes everything. At some point, they will notice. The silence, the composure, the result, the upgraded energy. They'll sense the distance. Curiosity will rise. Access will shrink. Respect will increase. But by then, you won't need it. That's the final stage. Indifferent. You're no longer building to be chosen. You're building because excellence is your baseline. You want cruelty? Here it is. The man who needed approval was fragile. The man who seeks dominance, stable. Fragile men chase applause. Stable men chase mastery. Fragile men react. Stable men respond once. Fragile men explain. Stable men execute. Choose which one survives. Look at men who radiate untouchable energy. Not loud, not begging attention. Grounded, focused, strategic. Like guts carrying the weight of suffering without asking for sympathy. Like Vegeta rebuilding pride through relentless training. Like Eren Yeager, shifting from reactive to calculated. They didn't wait to be selected. They transformed beyond negotiation. That's the archetype. You were overlooked. Good. You were underestimated. Good. You were replaced. Good. That pressure forges clarity. Now you know exactly what dependency feels like. Never return there. From today, you wake up earlier. You train harder. You speak less. You build more. You reveal nothing prematurely. You stop performing for spectators. You start operating for outcomes. The gym becomes non-negotiable. Skill building becomes daily. Money discipline becomes strict. Social circle becomes filtered. No emotional freeloaders.
No energy vampires. No drama addicts. Only growth. Only leverage. Only forward. And here's the part most men miss. You don't harden your heart. You sharpen your standards. You don't become cold. You become selective. You don't detach from everyone. You detach from weakness. That's evolution. One day, someone who once ignored you will watch silently. They'll analyze your shift, your calm, your physique, your success, your distance. And they'll realize you're not the same. But here's the twist. You won't care, because untouchable means external opinion no longer regulates internal state. That's freedom. So build. Not loudly, not emotionally, strategically. Stack months of silent progress. Let your disciplines speak. Let your results echo. Let your absence create tension. Then return, not to impress, not to revenge, but to dominate your own lane. We stop choosing you. Good. Now choose yourself with violence. Choose growth with obsession. Choose standards with rigidity. Choose discipline with zero negotiation. And when doubt creeps in, remember this. Rejection was the trigger. Detachment was the reset. Instruction is the weapon. Watch closely, because the man who once needed approval is gone. What replaces him doesn't ask to be picked. He becomes undeniable. This message hit something real inside you. Don't comment motivation. Don't promise change. Disappear. Train. Build. Return stronger. And when you do, let them watch.